Hey guys, how's it going? Anthony Muthurajah here, back with a new video lesson for you all. Before I get to the actual lesson, I want to talk to you about my upcoming ebook, A Harmonic Approach to Bass Guitar. Now, the primary goal of this book is not just for you to play chords on the bass, but to have a foundation in harmony and not just your function as a guy who holds down the groove and lays down the harmony from a very root note perspective. Okay, so we take a look at things like triads, chords, chord extensions, seventh chords, and then tension tones and voice leading. We basically what we're trying to do is use the bass as the main tool to think harmony. More than often, what happens is bass players think you need to either play guitar or piano to develop a good sense of harmony, but the truth is you really don't, at least for a good period of time. Lately, I've been exploring more on the guitar because I started expanding my explorations, and the bass, after a while, you just want to play bass. You don't want to play chords or just keep pushing in that direction, at least for me. So I got a guitar, but at least 80% of the footwork was done with the bass. So the book is all about that, just developing a harmonic ear as a bass player. All right, it'll be up for purchase on the 10th of August on my website, so keep your eyes peeled out for that one. And today's lesson is in relevance to the book, so you will get an idea of what you can expect. Okay, I'm going to talk about voice leading. Now, voice leading is basically how we move from one chord to another in relevance to the melody notes or the chord tones itself, which can contain the melody note. Okay. One of the problems with bass players is that since we think so much with root notes, we tend to move the chord literally a lot in our mind. So for example, if I'm doing C major and then F major, naturally we do that. We move that entire shape. Okay, and this is something guitar players tend to do as well. But piano players, however, don't do that because for them inversions are at axis very easily, and it's just a matter of moving a note or two around. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to talk about moving one note at a time from one basic chord and then two notes at a time. Okay, so if I take a C major triad, okay, C, G, E. Now I'm going to move the C down a half, okay, and that gives me an E minor, B, G, E. Okay, now back to the C major. Now if I move the C to the C sharp, I get a C sharp diminished triad. Okay, so moving the root note of the C major triad down, I get E minor, up I get a C sharp diminished. Okay, now let's try moving the G. I move down to F sharp. This gives me kind of like a Lydian sound, but it's not a major 7 sharp 11. It's just a C triad replacing the fifth of the sharp 11. Right? Now if I move the G to G sharp, I get an augmented triad. Okay? So C triad sharp 11, C augmented triad. Okay? Now back to the C major again. If I move the E to E flat, I get C minor. If I move the E to F, I get a C sus4. Cool? So here we are just taking one note at a time. Now let's try two notes at a time. So back to C major again. Now I'm going to move the C and G down a half. This gives me a B sus. Okay, back to C major. I'm going to move the C sharp and G, the C and G to C sharp and G sharp. That gives me C sharp minor. Okay. Now I'm going to move the G and E down a half. I get a C diminished triad. Up a half, I get an F minor. Excuse my voice, I sound like a frog. Right? C major, C diminished, C major, F minor. Okay? Now we're going to move the C and E down a half. Okay? This is an E flat augmented or B augmented or G augmented. You can view it however you want to, and that is also something I talk about in the book, how triads and chords tend to be related with one another. Just the context of their functions in different key centers is what sets them apart. Right? Cool. Now move up a half. I get the C sharp triad with the sharp 11. Cool. So now what I'm doing is just moving the voices in half steps. You can obviously explore whole steps, and then you can explore moving the 3 voices. So I can do stuff like, you know, that's 2 voices, sorry. Right, so start with that. Take the skeletal shape of C major and then move 1 note at a time for each string, down a half, up a half, then 2 notes at a time, and then 3 notes at a time. And when I say 3 notes at a time, don't do this. That's, anyone can do that. Try doing something else completely. Something like that. This is C major to a B flat minor. Okay, but now if I move it with just pure root note motion, it sounds okay, but it doesn't sound as smooth as this. This one creates a lot more melodic motion. The voice leading is a lot smoother because you have this as opposed to which is also pretty cool. Or so you can take 2 chords like C major triad and B flat minor triad and create a lot of melodies out of them and just a lot of motions out of them. All right, so explore this and see for yourself and hear for yourself how you can really implement and understand harmony a lot better. So you will see the purpose of certain motions. Like in pop tunes, one of the most common motions you'll see, for example, is a C major that goes to a G major over B. Right? Instead of then A minor. So I can do C, G major, A minor, and then when I get to this G, I can put a C triad on top. Right? So you are creating a smooth root motion, and you are also creating nice progressions using inversions. All right, so that's also something that's discussed in the book, inversions. So basically, if you want to get your harmonic game together, this book is definitely for you. Again, it'll be out on the 10th of August on my website, direct purchase. PDF file with a couple of audio files and a bunch of video files for you to get a reference of everything I'm talking about. All right, so that's it for today's lesson, and until the next one, I'll see you guys in the shed. Peace.